Greetings. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope wherever you are, life is treating you well. Now, I want to talk about two things today. The first, is I believe if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well, and we shouldn't hand everything over to AI just because we can. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. I think we have a supermarket here in the UK. I think supermarket's probably the best description. A reduced items store, and it is like a supermarket. B&M. And for the longest time, B&M music, as you go around the shop, would be particular to the store. A band that quite clearly somebody's daddy funded this band to produce a dreadful album, and it was played on repeat. And some of the tracks were frankly enough to drive a sane customer out of the shop. More recently, I haven't heard that in the local branch of B&M, but still. If you've attended that shop in the last couple of years, you'll know what I mean. Now, more recently, I guess that could be taken out of the hands of rank amateurs and put into the hands of AI, and it won't be any better. I don't believe AI should be used to generate music, not in any sense of it. We should, use computers for mixing, use computers to even out a crackly recording, but it shouldn't be used, in my opinion, to fine-tune someone's voice. If they can't sing in tune, then they can't sing in tune. And likewise, they shouldn't be used for generating lyrics or making sense of something that doesn't make sense. Keep the AI out of it. Now, stay with me. I'm on the thread here. Now, the thing is, today, I doing what I do, I get bombarded with a bunch of emails from different departments, and I work as part of a team within a larger team and a larger team, and it sort of spans out. It's a great big team. We do what we do. Now, suffice to say that we get a lot of messages come through that don't necessarily need to be sent. We get copies of emails and copies of emails, all designed to make sure that we participate and feel fully involved in the whole process, when maybe that's not what you necessarily want. But that's by the by. What we had, we all as individual teams that we sit within, we were all told to come up with a motto for your team that summarises briefly what your team does. So for example, if you look at the accounts and spot errors, and your motto would be team blah looks at the accounts and spots errors, and that would be your motto, and it could go on the end of your email signatures. Team so and so, we look for accounts and spots errors. Straightforward. Okay, so that was the message that came down from senior management. Every team do this, so you just understand that you understand what you're there for, which is all core to doing your job well. You know what you're aiming for. You can aim for that and filter out all the rest, put the blinkers on, anyhow. And most teams, did exactly that. They had a little meeting and say, well, we know what we do, so what's our motto going to read? And someone would just spout it out, and there it goes, a motto. For better or for worse, and it goes on your signature, or not if you don't add it, and there you go. Job's done. 5 minutes work. Not all the teams, though. One of the teams decided they were going to send it over to AI. So AI could summarise. I'm guessing what they did was they all put in words what they thought they did, put it all in a big text block and sent it over to Grok or something, and then got that AI software to generate a song somehow. So AI went ahead and did that. It generated a team song with the team motto, and there were graphics involved. It was a whole dumpster fire. And I saw this, and oh look, there's a link, you can listen to it now. No. There's something about AI music that churns the pile up for me. It grinds my gears. I hate it because it takes away from proper musicians or just general people who just like to sing. It takes something away from the whole joy of creating and enjoying music. Artificially created music, indeed. AI is great when it comes to summarising data, and there's nothing wrong with that. We have to still watch the results to make sure they actually make sense. Watch out for errors, but still, there's nothing wrong with that. But for actually creating things, I think that should be left to people. Left to people, flawed as we are, we generally do a better job than a computer that doesn't know it's making mistakes. Now, as regular viewers will know, I'm in customer service, hence the channel. So a lot of what I do is very much customer facing, talking to people, finding what's wrong. The other half of what I do, which is related to that, is sitting with them and going through data to, when someone calls in with something they've noticed, a direct debit wasn't taken correctly, for example, I will go through and find out why, go through the information, find out why, spot where a calculation has been done wrong. Now, you can turn a certain amount of this over to a computer to hopefully get things right, but unfortunately, a lot of the databases that have been coded by people or coded by a computer, they're not perfect. They're not perfect, and for some reason, some calculations for some customers won't work as they do for all the rest. And coders, it's something the coder will scratch their head over and never get to the bottom of why that is. And sometimes the only thing you can do is abandon a record and duplicate it somewhere else in the hope that in another location on the server, it won't generate the same problem. Weird technical fixes. Now, humans are good at spotting problems. Humans are good at spotting differences. This is what we're wired for as predator and prey within a forest situation. We're there to spot prey in the forest for when we go hunting, and we're there to spot the predators to keep ourselves safe. Computers aren't wired that way. We can try and wire them that way. We can try and make them aware of what to look for, but it comes down to gut instinct, which is why you can't completely devolve most customer service tasks to AI. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. And it makes me cross when I see the rising tide of just AI for no good reason. AI because we can. AI because we think we're going to cut costs. No, it generates more work in the long run. And whether it blows back on a person, we will pay. One way or the other, we all pay. We pay as customers, you pay as employees, you pay as a business if you fail to keep an eye on the things that matter, which is good customer service, the customer journey, and making sure that things are right. And sometimes that needs a human eye. Sorry, it just does. Brings me neatly on to the second thing. Now, as I said, AI can be used to do things, a lot of repetitive tasks quickly, and it's quite good for that. And for this reason, we've got lots of video content out there that's just humorous, people creating humorous things for Yeti and Sasquatch and gorillas to do in different situations, and cats driving cars and whatever. It's all hilarious fun and generated because computers have done the heavy lifting and done the AI generated art for whoever commissioned it. Fine, that's great use of that. But there are a bunch of other people out there who do things a little less honest. Which brings me on to the second point. And the second point is we see a lot of pushes within industries, within government, within small businesses even, pushing to simplify processes, and that's not always for the best. Over in the States, of course, we're seeing, as predicted, the problem with putting a bunch of teenagers in charge of all the government databases, Elon Musk, is because when they did what they were asked to do and cut corners, they ended up putting a bunch of data, sensitive data, in the cloud where it is not secure. Yeah, amongst other things. And again, corners were cut because people really need to put the time into work that needs to be given proper attention. It's as simple as that. You can't cut corners. You can't just do things overnight. Oh, we've got a whiz kid who can do this. Yeah, no. Put in the time, do it right. If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. But there are bad actors out there who will use the technology for something it is suitable for, which choose to abuse holes in the database, abuse holes in security. So we see a push for simplification of login processes. So normally you might have to provide a lot of information specific to yourself. If you're logging into a database for a business, I don't know, you might be buying insurance, and then you might have a password which you generate, and the more complicated that password, the better that password might be to protect your data. It isn't always the case, but it has to be hard to predict in order to be a great password. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, someone's going to get an algorithm to generate that password for you. To avoid the problems that this generates for some people who aren't good with passwords, and we aren't all good with passwords, some people are pushing for the use of thumbprints, Face ID, or Voice ID to log you into things. Now, unfortunately, that is also open to abuse. A fingerprint can be abused. It can be copied. A face print, a picture, can be used to unlock a phone or a computer. You can run into problems for people who commonly use their face to unlock their laptop at work. Go ahead and have a change in hairdo, put on some makeup for once or something like that, and you often find the computer struggles to recognise you. This is a problem. And this is unfortunately indicative of a hole in the database, because the computer can only look at so many data points to guess it is you trying to access the system. And the same can be said of voice prints. So when an organisation asks you to use your voice print to log into something, they're opening your record up to problems later on. You opening up your record to someone abusing that, because imagine you've got a channel and you know what the phrase is that somebody has to say in order to log in. Well, all you've got to do is record the channel. You could, as you no doubt watching me, some people would record it and they just have to clip out the words, splice them together with AI, and then they've got the login phrase. And then other information might be out there in the public domain. So then you've got a database that can be easily hacked. And it's not even someone just sitting there trying to impersonate the way someone talks, which also works, by the way. It's not even that. It is someone using recordings that are out there, data that's already available, recordings in the public domain. Someone could sit there talking to you on the phone, having a perfectly innocuous sounding conversation, and they'll be using that to generate that password to get them into your database later on. And I see more and more organisations push for it, and I think it's worth pushing back. It is. So if you're in my senior management team and you know who you are, guess who's not pushing that? Yeah, I'm sorry, I won't be party to this. I will not make any database weaker by my actions. It's just not right. And if you're out there in customer service, I would expect no less of you. Why were we pushing for weaker security? In these times, we should be pushing for better security, better management, and extra layers of security maybe. Yeah, Voice ID is one thing, Face ID is one thing, but it shouldn't be all the thing. Anyway, that's enough ranting for me. I do hope you have a great day. See you soon. And whatever you do, stay safe. Bye for now.